Yeah, this is Brian Burley, Politician Reacts, new YouTube channel. Also going live on Facebook. Going to react to Richard Grenell's interview on Fox Business when he talks about potentially making California a red state again. Let's see what he has to say.
Let's bring him in. Ric Grenell, former acting director of national intelligence and America's ambassador to Germany. Ric Grenell is with us now. What do you make of that, Ric? I say Americans demand their freedom. They want it. They grab it with both hands. Is that how you see America?
Well, I think it depends on what state you're in. I wish that you were right. Here is my dilemma. When I hear what you're saying, that Americans want to grab their liberty, Americans want their freedom, I'm frustrated because I don't see enough Americans demanding their freedom and demanding that they be able to live their lives. We've got a lot of Democratic governors who are working really hard to shame people into closing their businesses. And I don't find people like Democratic politicians who have consistently gotten a paycheck throughout this entire COVID shutdown, telling other people that they should close their business. I don't find that to be nice or humane. I certainly don't think that you're taking care of people. But they've been able to, with the help of the media, turn this around into a situation where they are the ones who are sympathetic. They are the ones who are helping people. And I think quite the opposite is true. I don't think they are helping people. It's not very brave to continue getting a paycheck while you tell others to shut down and lose their businesses. And so I hope that more people will stand up to governors. Certainly in California, we have a tremendous problem because we're out of 50 states. We are still the number 50 in terms of opening up.
So that's a good point. I mean, I don't think he's the first out of these four candidates and the ones that we're talking about today that have ads, or this in this case it's an interview. These are the candidates that would want to replace Newsom. Of course, he's the only one that talks about how we're like last in reopening, which I think is a really strong message for any potential candidate.
Why don't you run for the governorship of California?
Look, we have a system in California right now where the Democrats control everything. They're counting the ballots. We just heard from Christine Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, yesterday that the Democrats are actually going to make a decision right before the recall qualifies on whether or not Gavin should step down. And if they see that he has a chance of losing and the Democrats lose their grip on California, Christine Pelosi has announced that they're going to make sure that Gavin Newsom steps down and the whole recall falls apart. So we have to change.
I didn't know that was a actual. I don't know where his source is, and I expect him to be a decent one. That they would have Newsom step down if it didn't look good. That's like almost like a Watergate type of approach to the recall that would be interesting. I guess you can't have a recall election if he steps down, right? How does that even structurally work? You know, the voters had asked for a special election, and him replacing somebody could just be a continuation of Newsom policies without the repercussions of the bad leadership over the last 3 years.
The system. It's a long-term fight. It's not as sexy as what people think a quick recall is, but what I have been saying consistently for a long time is we have a whole bunch of parents in California who are really frustrated with Zoom school over a year. Gavin Newsom, of course, has lied about that. He said that he's experiencing the trials and tribulations of Zoom school, but he actually has had his kids in private school in-person learning since last fall. And that's a scandal that should be highlighted when we have politicians brazenly lie like that. But I can tell you, minority parents in California are finished with the Democratic Party. We see it every single day. It is a scandal where they are forced to go to government schools. They are forced to not have paychecks because the businesses have been shut down. And I think we've got to flip the script in California. Republicans need to be about freedom and democracy and school choice and all of these issues that will bring a change into the system. And so I'm looking at the long-term impact and the long-term fight. I give you, it's not as sexy as a recall campaign, but I'm not convinced that we can't ignore the long-term fight, because I do believe that California can be a red state. I believe that Californians are fed up with the current system, the corrupt system of one-party rule in Sacramento.
So he makes some good points. The biggest frustration, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about it maybe 2 weeks ago when he said that the California Republican Party couldn't get anybody elected. It was in response to him downplaying it because Newsom was saying that it was essentially a radical right-wing white supremacist recall when that's not what it is. And he said, well, that's not even possible that they could even get it qualified on the ballot. It's because Newsom's done such a bad job. That's what Arnold was trying to say. But what I used to always say is that it was interesting that, California was heading in such a bad direction and you really needed a strong Republican Party that could, in case the left went too off the beaten track, a Republican Party that could step in and be responsible and be in position to succeed. Unfortunately, we don't always have that in all respects. I think Richard is talking about, or Ambassador Grenell is talking about, where we should be, and we can still be there, and we're still working on that a lot. We're working really hard, but I wish we had a little bit more of a coalition, and maybe that's what will happen. We need to get behind one candidate in this recall, but right now we're not organized enough. I think everybody would agree with that, but we're getting there.
They should really listen to you, Ric Grenell. I'm glad that you're on our show and told our audience what you really think. That was good stuff. Sir, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again real soon. Promise. Thank you.
Well, that's interesting. That was a good interview. Obviously, it's different to react to a different type of reaction compared to, say, a commercial where should be 30 seconds but ends up being like 3 minutes. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how he reacts to different things. I agree with a lot that he has to do. I think Grenell, I think some people had some reservations that he wouldn't be able to have a big enough base to potentially be the candidate that we rally behind. But we'll have to see as time goes by how that changes. And obviously he hasn't even announced yet, and there's a lot of enthusiasm for him. So he should get a bump once he announces. So thank you guys for watching. It was a good interview, and this is Politician Reacts. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, as well as to like and share on Facebook. Thank you.